What if the real power in the world doesn't sit in governments, parliaments, or presidential palaces, but in quiet rooms where money itself is designed, printed, and controlled? What if every boom and bust, every rescue and recovery is not random, but orchestrated? There is some reason the same institutions always seem to survive and even grow after every global crisis. Today, we're uncovering the hidden power behind world money, the invisible network that shapes nations, controls currencies, and writes the rules of the financial game. Title fades in. Hidden power behind world money. Origins: the birth of financial power before there were banks. Tire was gold, scarce, heavy, and real. But as trade expanded, merchants needed something faster. Enter the first money lenders, issuing paper receipts backed by stored gold. But soon, they discovered a secret. Most people never claimed their gold. That meant they could issue more receipts than they had metal. That was the birth of credit, and the first hidden form of power. By the 1600s, this idea evolved into national central banks. Starting with the Bank of England in 1694, a private institution lending to governments in exchange for interest. From that moment, money became debt, and those who issued it could fund empires. Rise to a central banking. Fast forward to 1910. A secret meeting took place on Jekyll Island, Georgia. Bankers and politicians gathered to create what would become the U.S. Federal Reserve, a private network with public authority over America's money supply. In 1913, the Federal Reserve Act passed. Now, every dollar would be born as a loan, with interest owed to the system that created it. Over time, this model spread worldwide. Central banks became the architects of economies, raising or cutting rates, triggering recessions or recoveries, deciding who thrives and who fails. And the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. They don't just manage money, they manufacture dependency. Breaking point when money lost its anchor. For decades, currencies were tethered to gold. But that restraint ended in 1971, when President Nixon temporarily suspended the dollar's convertibility into gold. That moment, the end of the gold standard, handed central banks ultimate freedom. Money could now be created without limit, backed by nothing but trust. From 10 on every crisis, inflation, oil shocks, debt bubbles, was solved by printing more. Fallout and failed fixes, the results were predictable. Inflation soared, inequality widened. The 2008 crash exposed how fragile the system had become. But instead of reform, central banks printed trillions to stabilize markets. Stocks recovered, the wealthy multiplied their fortunes, and ordinary people. They were left with stagnant wages and rising costs. The system didn't fail. It worked exactly as intended. Modern peril is the new era of control today. That same power structure is evolving again. Governments and central banks are experimenting with central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, programmable money that can be tracked, limited, or ebb and frozen. Global debt has surpassed $320 trillion. Over 60% of all US dollars were printed in just the last few years. The same old cycle continues. More money, more debt, more control. But this time, it's digital. An absolute. Money equals control. Whoever issues the money sets the rules of the game. Debt equals dependency. Nations, companies, and citizens stay trapped in a cycle that benefits the issue. Digital equals final phase. When money goes fully digital, financial freedom could vanish overnight. The hidden power behind world money doesn't need armies. It needs your trust. And as long as you believe the illusion, the system survives. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe and share this video. The more people who understand how money truly works, the harder it becomes for hidden powers to stay hidden. Because once you see the system, you can't unsee it.